All right, today we're going to crack the code on language learning. We're going to dive into a method that's so powerful, you've actually already used it to master one of the most complex things on Earth. You just did it so long ago, you probably don't even remember. So let's get right into it. You know the feeling, right? You've spent years in a classroom. You've gone through countless vocab lists, you've passed all the grammar tests, but you still can't quite hold a confident, easy conversation. It is an incredibly common frustration, so you are definitely not alone. But what if the problem isn't you? What if it's the method you've been taught? And this really lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the very structured, rule-based world of the classroom. But on the other side, you see something much more, well, human. The way we all acquired our first language through playing and listening and just trying to connect. That's the core difference we're going to explore. Now, here is where it gets really interesting. You are already an expert in one of these methods. In fact, you've used it to become perfectly fluently native in what is probably the hardest language you will ever learn. Your first one. No, seriously. Think about it. Before you could read or write, before you even knew what a verb was, you completely mastered an incredibly complex communication system, basically from scratch. You didn't use textbooks, you just used the world around you. So don't forget, you are already a master language learner. This table really gets to the heart of it. Just look at the goals. In the classroom, the goal is so often about accuracy, so you can pass a test. But as a kid, your only goal was connection. You just wanted to be understood. And that single difference changes everything. It shifts the entire focus from just memorizing rules to actually communicating. So the big question is, how can we tap back into that childhood genius now that we're adults? Well, it really boils down to four natural secrets, the exact same principles that unlocked your ability to speak in the first place. Secret number one is immersion. And listen, this isn't about having to pack your bags and move to another country. Not at all. It's about creating a little world for yourself where the new language is just there. It becomes an unavoidable, normal part of your day. And building this little immersion bubble is way easier than it sounds. I mean, it can be as simple as changing the language on your phone, or putting on a playlist in your target language while you work, or even watching a movie you already love, but this time without the subtitles. These small, kind of passive changes make the language feel natural in your own environment. Okay, our second secret, repetition. Just think back. As little kids, we heard words like mama, dada, or more thousands and thousands of times. It wasn't about studying a flashcard, it was about constant real-world exposure until those words became totally automatic. This quote just hits the nail on the head. Real deep learning doesn't happen in one big, intense study session. It comes from all those little encounters, hearing the same words and phrases again and again in slightly different ways. That's what really sticks. The third secret might be the most overlooked one of all, listening. It is the absolute foundation of everything. As babies, we spend a huge amount of time just soaking it all in, the sounds, the melody, the rhythm of our language, long before we even try to make our own words. And to put that in perspective, get this. Some research suggests a child listens for over 8,000 hours before they're speaking fluently. That's a powerful reminder that speaking isn't the first step. It's the result of all that patient listening. So you got to give yourself permission to just absorb the language for a while. And our final secret is imitation. Now notice the word here is not translation, it's mimicking. It's all about copying the flow, the accent, the tone, the actual music of the language, without getting paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake. It's about sounding right, not just being technically correct. So this means you kind of have to shift your whole mindset. Stop trying to build sentences word for word from your own language. Instead, just try to copy a whole phrase you've heard a native speaker say. Focus on feeling that rhythm and melody. It's a totally different approach and honestly, a much more natural one. Okay, so we've got our four secrets. The big question now is, how do we actually start building a new habit around them? How do we integrate this stuff into our lives like today? And let's be super clear about this. This isn't about throwing away your textbooks or dropping your language class. Formal learning gives you a fantastic foundation. This is all about enhancing it, using these natural techniques to bring that classroom knowledge to life and really speed up your progress. So, how do you start? With this super simple 3-step plan. Don't try to do everything at once. Just pick one secret. Maybe it's listening.
and just commit to 15 minutes of it today. That's it. Then do it again tomorrow for a whole week. You're not aiming for perfection here, you're just building a small, powerful new habit.
Because in the end, it really all comes down to this. The true secret isn't finding some magic perfect method, it's just getting started. Don't let yourself get overwhelmed. Just take that first tiny step. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Out of those 4 secrets, immersion, repetition, listening, or imitation, which one are you going to choose? What will you try for just 15 minutes today? Your journey to actually speaking with confidence can start right now.